Welcome again to another tutorial. Um, we are going to attempt to draw this traditional character from Disney. We'll love the character from Peter Pan, Tinkerbell. I think she has a show of her own for the last couple of years. Incredible character in this small figure in the movie. Really shows her human attributes, even though she's I guess not a human. Not that complicated to draw, pretty simple, but you have to capture the gesture. I think that this is a very challenging character to get the right drawing to do here, because there's so much to her. But this is the one that I chose for now. I'm sure we're gonna do her again. We're gonna be drawing her again, but this is what we're gonna use today. I think a nice gesture. I think that if you finish this, you could put it up somewhere and you'd be happy about it. It looks like a finished position. It looks like she's standing in a place that you can tell, the way she's standing, you can tell that there's something going on, and it's interesting enough to be a finished piece. So let's see. Again, I'm going to be drawing with my pencil. I'm going to be making some reference lines to get started. As you guys always know, and by the way, thank you for tuning in and for subscribing. If you're subscribed, thank you for subscribing. If not, think about it. This is the type of content we're always going to be bringing out here. Something where you can learn. If you view this video, you'll leave here knowing something that maybe you didn't know or hadn't done in a while, and it'll just go down the fundamentals. I'm giving you a lot of the materials, a lot of the instruction and tools that my teacher Abdon Romero and my other teacher David Eisenberg from Columbus High School have given me, and I'm just sharing it with you because we love art and we think that everybody should be doing art, and sometimes it's just a lack of a little bit of knowledge and technique that you can get from us to do your own stuff. So let's see. All right, so you all know how I do this. I want to figure out the extremes of where the envelope, some call, of where it is that our drawing sits, our character sits, or our image sits. It sits in this square, so we're going to replicate that here. And I'm actually going to come across the top here. I'm going to come across the bottom, and I know that that's the highest and the lowest that points for this character. Now I'm going to try to figure out the center. I haven't really done it, but it looks like we'll use this straight edge here to figure it out. It looks like the gesture, the weight of the drawing, it looks like it goes through the growing area here, right around here where her legs meet her skirt. That line goes through there, and it goes almost at the edge of this first pom-pom on her shoe, and it touches the back of her head. So that's, let's put that line in. And again, you don't really need to have a straight edge. I mean, I just did it. A piece of paper will do. And that's our gesture there. I mean, not our gesture, our center line. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that here. I'm gonna put a center line here for her. And I wanna make sure that I'm more or less centered here, but I don't know. It looks like it's on this side here. It looks like it's not on the center, it's off, but it's the center line that's our reference point. But you see, it's a little bit toward the left. The center line would be more like here of this drawing, but I don't want to do that. I want to pick a spot that makes it more or less be in the center of where I want, but I want to pick a spot that gives me some reference points, and that's a perfect spot for reference points. See, it's almost her waist right here, where the skirt meets her legs. This is the end. This is the pom-pom here, but it's her feet. The tip. It's actually the tip. Look, if you look, it's the tip of this shoe, the back of her head. That's 4 points that I get. It's just too easy not to do it. Even her arm starts at that center line. So it's just too many points that I can get that will make this drawing so much easier. So with that said, I know that this will fit in here, so I'm fine. I'm going to put just my center line right here. Alrighty, so let's see. Let's figure out the top here. And again, I recommend that you put the reference down. I recommend that you print this and have it next to, like I do this. So with that said, let's see the strong forms here. I see a circle right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a center line right here. For her. And again, you don't really need to have a straight edge. I mean, I just did it. A piece of paper will do. And that's our gesture there. I see a I'm gonna plot that circle. So I know that this is more or less where it's touching. So I can actually just come across. I can come off the top, another technique that you've seen me use, or I can just get a straight edge. And if I'm pretty good at aiming, making sure that this is at 90 degrees with the paper. I mean, that's more or less where I was at. And we believe that the diameter of that, I'm marking it with my thumb and the tip of the pencil. My diameter is there. And so my top, again, we can use a straight edge to do it. We can eye it. We can come off the top. So this is my circle right here. Having a hard time making the circle today, huh? So we want to do that. Let's see other good shapes that we have. Let's see. There's a very pronounced shape right here. Her hip area. It's a circle. I'm sure you can see it there. Let's come across. We can measure too. I mean, you know, I suggest you always corroborate with data points. See, it's there. Let's see the diameter of that circle. Now that looks like it's almost centered. I'm gonna go top to bottom. So that's my top and my bottom, and yeah, it lines up. And then let's see, it's almost, I'll get this half. Let's just be careful. Let's be cautious to not have to work more than once. And I'll take this other side, again, being cautious. I'm marking it with my thumb. So that's my circle right there, that's her hip. And again, remember what we do here is we create shapes, we relate one with the other, we connect them, and eventually we get our finished drawing. Now I see, another thing that I see here is I see a very strong shape from her, right here from her hip to this shoulder, and from this hip to this shoulder, and then there's I see a rectangle there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go off the center line. I'm going to figure out this distance from this center line to, well, you know, we can't do that yet because we don't have this piece yet. We only have this ball up here. So let's put this in. Let's put this in, and then we can, actually it'll be easier if we put this shape in. Let's do that. So let's come from the top. Let's measure from the top to that shoulder on the center line, right there. Okay. Let's measure over from that center line to that shoulder. Now I don't know the height. I don't know from here to here what it is. I can just get that. So we're basically plotting a space, a point in space, which some people are uncomfortable with, but you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be scared of that. Sometimes it's like, I guess the best way to figure it, to say it is like, for example, if you play Sudoku, if you play those games, sometimes there's a leap that you have to take. And that leap can give you, you know, if you guess right. If you guess wrong, you're going to be set back. But if you guess right and you got a strategy, it's an educated guess, but it's a leap that you take. And, you know, this is sort of like that. Sometimes you just, this is less risky. So now what I'm doing is I have this circle here, and I know that this is gonna come down from this corner. So this comes here like this, right? So I've got that top piece. But this has to come down, and I have to figure out where in the circle it comes down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna assume that this circle is well plotted, which it is. We have a good technique. And I'm gonna go off the center to where that point meets the circle, right there. And I'm just gonna grab that. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna look here until I find it, and it looks like it's right there. That looks about right. So now I'm just gonna connect the dots. Really simple. You don't have to be an artist. You just have to have a good system to be a good artist. Okay? So now that we have that, now we can figure this out. So we're not just gonna paint these eyes on here. We wanna figure out the volume. A lot of time was spent by this artist training so that he could create the sense of volume on Tinkerbell. We're gonna do it too. So look, we know that the circle of the top of her head, actually her eyes sit right on that. So we already have that information. See how her eyes, the bottom of her eye sits on that? That's not a coincidence. So now we're gonna orient the mouth, the bridge of her nose, and we're gonna go to the top of where you think her head goes. And this is, notice that it lines up with her ponytail. That's not a coincidence. That's figured out by these artists. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go from this point, we're gonna go by, we can even mark this point. You don't even have to guess it. We can mark this point off of here, and it's right where this line hits the circle. We're gonna mark it off the center line here. And look at that, we don't even gotta figure it out. And we're gonna do that center line of Tinkerbell's nose, mouth, and head. And we're just going around the ball, see? We're just going around the ball. Everybody here can do that. How easy is that? Now what are we gonna do? This line here captures her ear and her jawline. We're gonna go right to where, and notice it's not it's a big radius, it's an oval, it's like a big smile. We're gonna do that. From here, all the way up here. That's the side of Tinkerbell's face. And then here, it actually comes down from a point here that we have to figure out where it is. It's actually slightly on the inside of her, maybe half a pencil. From this point right here, we have to figure that out. We'll make this shape right here. We'll make this shape right here, and guess what? We got it. See this shape we just did there? We got it. And what it does is it comes down, and then it shoots in at a severe angle. So it comes down. We can round it off a little bit, but no need. And guess what? We've got a complex shape here. We've got a complex shape that we just figured out by doing little drawings and little shapes and following the shapes. As long as we're correctly measuring off our center line and our top and our bottom, we can use these tricks to very quickly come up with this drawing. So let's see. We've got this, we've got this. We're missing this hip line here. We know that this is, her arm is right off. So we know her arm can actually come out a little bit farther. We're just gonna eye this. We look, it's this shape here. It's almost the tip of a pencil. It's half of a pencil to a little bit more than half of a pencil to the tip of a pencil. So that's about a little bit more than half of a pencil. And I'm gonna come down. Very easy, very easy. Okay, so let's do the arms. Now I think we can knock out two shapes at once here. We can actually, if we come almost straight down, a little bit less than straight down, a little bit out, and we do a triangle here, we've got part of her chest and her arm up to her wrist covered. So I'm gonna do that. This would be straight down. I'm gonna go just a slight angle. I'll risk that. That's not a big deal. Straight down past my point. I know that this bottom here, see this here? It lines up with slightly below, it's about a pencil thickness from the center line and the top of the circle. That's right here. So no measuring. I mean, I am measuring, but as reference, I'm referencing. And guess what? It's starting to come out. That's her hand. This is a square. This fits in a square. I'm going to do that. This fits in a square. And how? A little bit more. It's about a pencil and a half. About a pencil and a half. So about a pencil and a half. That's square. We know that her fingers will fit in there. So we don't have to go crazy. So that's done. We'll draw that in now. Let's see this arm. Now this is a tricky arm. So a lot of anatomy going on here. You're actually looking straight into the bicep. That's why it's thin. Opens up from the elbow, from her bones. And then her forearms, in the position it's seen, it looks fatter than her bicep because of the angle. If you were to turn the arm, it would be different. This would look fatter and this would look smaller, but because of the position. But your brain understands because you've been looking at arms your whole life and you recognize that looks realistic because an arm will look like that. So your brain recognizes that, even though you probably wouldn't draw it like that. But we're not going to worry about that. We're going to do this here. Forget about anatomy for right now. We're going to do, this is the way I'm going to approach it. I'm going to put a straight line over the top. And I'm going to come from her hip. Actually, I'm not going to come from her hip. I'm going to come straight under her arm. This is a straight line. I want to come straight there. So I'm going to do this and this. It's a triangle. And what we're going to do is, you'll see, we're going to not draw this arm. We're going to draw the negative space. And if we draw something that's not what we're trying to draw, if you tried to draw this arm, you'd never get it. Some of you might, but it's hard. I might not even get it. But if I draw the negative space, I'll nail it because I get my head out of it. I follow rules for shapes. So let's plot this point here. Let's plot this point, and then we can shoot out. So this point here is from the center is going to be about there. I want to plot it to the hand, and I'm more or less going to put it where it goes. So more or less along that line. Now we're going to come from the top. I'm coming to the top of my... And now I'll check. On the top of this circle, this is the space we're talking about. And it looks like a pencil, almost 2 pencils. Let's see if we draw a line here. Looks like 1, 2. We're a little high. We're a little high. I think this line is off a little bit. It's okay. So I'll fix it. Now, would that matter if her hand is up here or if it's here? No, it wouldn't. You couldn't tell. But if we can tell that there's something off a little bit. So I went a little down. Let's see now. 1, 2. That's about right. So that's small distance on that. On an eye, it might affect the expression completely and look awkward, but on an arm that's sticking out, it's not a big deal. So now we just go straight out like we discussed. That's the top. That's the bottom of the arm. And we're off and running. We've got that resolved. Let's do the legs. Let's do the ponytail. Let's do her little, this is not a ponytail. This is I guess a bun. The bun looks like it's touching the center line. So again, we did great there. Picking that center line, we got a lot of points. We got rid of a lot of work. So that's the very edge of it. And it looks like if I did it, I'm gonna go off the top because my arm is not gonna spin and I'm not gonna reset the camera. So again, off the top. So this is my top. So it's got a touch here. More or less. And now we know it sticks out of maybe a little bit less than a pencil. So we're gonna just roll it out a little bit. Just a little bit. And that's not gonna be a big effect, okay. Let's do this hand here. This hand here, we're gonna make a rectangle. And the rectangle is about 1.5 pencils. So that's a pencil, 1.5 pencils. And again, like I showed you, we're gonna stick it out a little bit. We're gonna go out. We're gonna go a little bit past it. Notice we have to go a little past it for the fingers. So we're gonna, so my angle is a little off, like that. And it's definitely about 1 pencil thick here. And it's flat on the top. And how? 1.5 pencils we said? And it's flat on top. So that's our hand envelope there. We've got this little thing here. I don't want to miss it. Here there's a shape. Where, how far would you say it is from the center? It's about 1 pencil. So, there. All right, let's do the legs. Let's see. So we know this line goes by the shin. This almost ends. See, we did this technique. When did we do the? I think we did it with Batman. One of my first drawings that we did, the animated series. We're gonna make these thighs, but we're gonna treat them as one thigh. This whole thing is one shape. We've got this circle. We're gonna treat it. It's gonna be like a popsicle. See this, like a popsicle. So what we really need to figure out is where this point is on this line from this top of the circle. And then we need to figure out where this point is. I guess from there too. We can draw a line here and we can measure this. And then this distance. So we're gonna mark this point, and then we're gonna make our shape. So let's go ahead and do that. Our first shape, our first point is gonna be, again, it's from the top of the circle. It's gonna be right there. That's our first point. Our second point, from the top of that circle off to the side here. So it's gonna be on this line. And let me see how far out from that center line that point is. So we marked this point by measuring off of this and measuring off of this top of the circle here. And we measured this point. No, really, this is the point, but if I'm gonna do this shape, I can just go off the center line and then I can just add that later. So I'm gonna go from here, on this center line, from the top of that circle to here. I've got them both there. Now let's do this shape. So this comes off almost straight from here. Notice that where I plotted it, it actually has already got its little angle. And then this one, we can go from this one to the edge of that circle. We're just connecting this circle, coming around here. And we're doing our popsicle stick. Looks like the tip of a popsicle, almost like a snow cone. This one's like a snow cone. Crazy. And then let's do this one. This again is nothing more than another. Now I'm gonna take this all the way to the bottom because I wanna make sure that I don't miss any part of the feet. But this is really, if you look, it's just another popsicle stick. And we even know what we're coming out of. Now we know that this one will hit right here. So let's figure that out from the top of this stick, right? Let's go straight from this one again. From the top of that circle. Okay. And then we know that point. Let's see this farthest point here. We could tell it's a little bit out from this far point, so we can just telegraph that a little bit. Come down there, and then let's figure out at what point this touches here. Again, going off the top of my circle with my thumb to that point. So right there. So now we're gonna just make this shape. We're gonna do the little circle here. Now notice this is the center line, but it actually comes out a little bit. So I'm gonna try to do that a little bit. Oh, look, I forgot to do, I don't have the bottom. So let's see. So we're gonna mark the bottom here. It's about a half a pencil. And then how far off of that center line is that mark? It's not too far. So there we go. We're giving this the roundness that a melting popsicle would have. We can reshape it when we do the final. We can give it, but if you actually put a line in the middle there and you drew that now, it wouldn't look wrong. It's when we try to get these elongations, this anatomical exact precision here, we mess it up because we exaggerate some of that. Sometimes it's better that the mass is the right size and the things are in the right placement. And this you can learn as you go advancing in your art, you know. But try to get the volume first, and then these little designs, you'll get them. If you get the designs and you don't get the volume, it's going to look bad. It's not going to look right. But if you get the volume right, it will look okay. It will not look bad. It'll be acceptable. So that's my suggestion. You can do, you know, as you please, but that's my suggestion to you as an artist. So let's see this bottom here. So this is really a square. What I'm seeing here is really a square. It's like a rectangle. Actually, it's a pentagon, but let's see. So I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna aim the top of her foot forward. I'm gonna create this shape here, and I'm gonna come back. That's really done. And then the other one, it comes up a little bit higher. The bottom of it comes up a little higher. It goes maybe a thickness of a pencil out. Okay. You really don't even see it, but we're gonna draw it. It'll come up a little bit and come right back. We'll go ahead and draw that circle, that pom-pom already, because it's gonna get rid of a lot of work for us. So it's covered. This step here is covered. So if we place that right, we'll be okay. So that pom-pom is almost touching that center line, and it's just off the bottom. So, and that's about a pencil and a half. So more or less like that. And then the other pom-pom is just you can just see the bottom of the shoe, and it sits right on top, and you can see almost the entire, I mean, it just slightly overlaps. So we're gonna mark the bottom of that pom-pom, and we're just gonna do it. And it's almost the same, it's the same size as the pom-pom next to it. And we're good there. Let's see what else we're missing here. All right, so let's start defining some of this. So here we go. We're gonna do the negative space. So we got her shoulder here, her shoulder, and then there's a little negative space right above the chest there. We're gonna do that. So we're drawing the negative space. We're not drawing her chest. See that? And then this this hip goes slightly above that circle we did, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna go inside of our line, and you see there's a little bit of negative space, and it's just an arch. It's an arch going up to the chest, so we're gonna do that. Her chest is out here, not very big. It's touching this envelope. So we're gonna come up here just slightly, doing the negative. We're actually drawing the negative space. We drew the negative space there and come to this. Perfect. We're gonna draw this shape right here. This shape that we have here, you're gonna draw it. So a little bit of space here. And then we're gonna draw this shape up here. And guess what? We just did Tinkerbell's arm, drawing negative space. We weren't drawing the arm, we were drawing the emptiness. Gonna make this circular here. And now we're gonna do the hand. This is where everybody starts to panic. Don't panic. We're still gonna do the same thing. We have a good envelope here. That hand fits inside of there for the most part. We're gonna draw the negative space. Leave that square there. We're gonna draw the negative space. I'm drawing this here and that space there. That other negative space is really just a little line. And then that, I think I stick out from the front there. And then that other thing is just two fingers connected and a line in the middle. That's it. Bring this wrist down a little bit. And that's it. You don't have to know how to draw a hand. You just got to know how to draw a negative space. That's all. Okay, so let's continue. This is our center line. We're gonna draw this. This is more of a curve. I'm gonna draw a little bit of a curve there. And notice again, this is my circle. This hip comes out. This is what we're drawing now, this space here, this. So we're gonna draw that. This is almost a straight line. And here's another straight line, and we come out. Let's figure out from the top of that circle what that little point that comes out, where it's at. So I know that this point. So I can come slightly above here. See this? Let's see how far. So the curve is a little bit past the hip, a little bit. So it's here. And that's it. That's okay, that's it. Same thing over here. We're drawing these two little, this is the center of that circle. So they just stick out. I see this sticks out. So this comes down and that actually pops out of the circle. 1, 2, and I can actually, so we're there. Let's do this arm that's so daunting right now. So we'll figure out the neck. We're gonna turn that a little bit. Soft lines here on that shoulder. Now, we're gonna draw this negative space. If this point would help you to secure it, it would help me to get the guesswork out of here. I'll go ahead and get it. Off my center line. And off my, we can actually go off the top of this circle. We can go backwards. We can go up. having a hard time with the angle there. Let me come from the top. So that's right there. That's where I had it. And where I actually marked it. So I'm gonna come down from this shoulder very softly and go to the wrist. Go to that. I'm gonna go to this edge right here. And then the bottom, this point is just next to it. So if I come down from this one, I know that if I come over maybe a half a pencil, and then this is about a pencil and a half thick. Whoa. So it's a pencil and a half thick. So I figured out the space up here. And then I'm gonna come down to. Now something doesn't look right. I think my thickness is off up here. And let me see my angle. I might have measured something wrong here. Off my center line. Oh, that's what happened. I measured off the wrong line. So this actually, human error, the system survives. It's just human error. Okay, so, and again, you reserve the right as the artist to say when something is right or when it's wrong. And so that's about there. Let's get that hand. Let's do this hand up here. Again, we did a square. That looks pretty cool. So I've decided to zoom in a little bit when I'm going to do the face here now, because I feel that some of you are going to benefit from that more. And also this hand. Let's do this hand here. We just finished this one here. We're going to do the same. We're going to use the same approach. We're going to do negative space. So we have our square here. We're going to divide that in half. And again, all we're doing is negative space. And again, I'm putting this over here. I'm just drawing the negative space. This is a vertical line right here. And I'm going to draw this thumb. It seems like the thumb falls, it's just really, the thumb is really 1, 2, and 3. It's not round, it's a flat piece, 2 pieces and a flat piece, really, primarily. And this goes at a slight angle, so I'm gonna put that at a slight angle. I'm gonna create the volume of it at the top. And I'm just gonna do that. These 2 fingers here, they don't go all the way to the end here. They actually are the same. They're even with the ones on the bottom. So I know that these are down, these 2 fingers are down here. I'm not even gonna do the tips, guys. I'm just gonna draw the fingers. The top is gonna end about here. So I'm just gonna draw this one and this one. And that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not even gonna do anything else. I ain't gonna lie to you. That works for a hand for me. That works. Now let's do the face. Now we said that these eyes, they sit right on this circle. They sit right on this circle. And we know the shape, the gesture of the head is like this. So if we look, this eye sits right here. And it's actually, the eye comes, there's a space on the side here from the cheek to the brow here. So it goes up and it comes down to the tear duct. And then it actually continues to the nose. So we're gonna do this little pyramid shape here. It looks like it coincides with this line, so we're gonna be here. So let's mark the bottom, we know where that is. We're gonna go up the top a little bit here, just a little bit. We're gonna come down to the tear duct. And And we're gonna continue with that nose, and it just comes up a little bit. A little nostril, indication of a nostril. We have the pupil, and this is, you have to really be careful here because there's not a lot of room here to do this whole thing. I did one eye there more or less. And then now, let's fix this cheek. I think it's a little lower, there we go. And then the other eye is gonna be about a pencil over. So we're gonna put a pencil over. And it looks like if I did a center line on this circle here, and I did a cross line, let's reference that. It looks like the eye sits more or less there, so let's use that as an indicator. They're about at the same height, more or less, so. We've got the bottom of the eye. It's a circle. And then let's do her hairline. Let's see her hairline there. Now what's happened is I lost a piece of footage here. So I'm trying to capture that footage again here. So we're gonna figure out this tip here of her hair. Here. And if you look at the center of this circle, right up here right to the center, right here, is where the hair starts to come out. So this is sort of the shape here. This may be repeated, don't worry. It's just that I got a phone call when I started this video. I was at this part and I lost it, and I don't want to leave you all without it. So this may be covered again. Here's it's a circle here. So we're gonna do that. Don't worry too much about this. I think this is covered later, but there's a gesture. There's a gesture here that creates the volume, the sense of volume. It has to go around that circle. And then there's a circle here, and that creates the sense of volume there. And her ear is about here. It lines up with the brow. Comes in a little bit, and her neck goes from there. That's fine. And now her brow goes up and over. Don't be confused with the sweeping. It's an up line to that center line, and then it goes across. Then maybe a little dip. So don't be confused. Even if I do it straight, if I do it like a straight line, it will look better. I can curve it now that I have that, but you have to have that shape. And over here, it comes down a little bit. But it's very important to have that dip where it goes for the effect. I think her eye is smaller than how I drew it. Again, I'll fix that in the ink now at the end, but this is as good as you're gonna get at this point. Now the mouth, you're gonna see some drawings appear here. I tried to explain something. I'll go ahead and explain it again. The mouth is really a line. When you look at it from the front, is represented by a lot of artists. There's a little dip here in the center of your mouth. There's a little bit of meat there. That sort of, it leads to this little part under your nose. Everybody has seen it. They call it the filter of love. Some people, some artists, I'm sure it's got another name. So they represent the mouth like this. There's the ends of the mouth. And then if it's a male, they'll put a bottom line, like a bottom lip. If for it to be female, they sometimes over represent that center line a nice full lip. And then they will sometimes add the top. And, you know, you can go crazy with that. But that's how they do the female mouth. Sometimes it's thinner. It's like this, it's thinner. But if we tried to do that mouth here, it would look very awkward. And that's what a lot of us do because we don't have a lot of that anatomical information. So I'm going to try to do this mouth. I'll explain it to you. What they've done here is the mouth is at an angle. When you look at it from the side, this part disappears and you can actually see the fullness of the lip, which is, if you could zoom in here, that's what you'd see. So what they've done here is they've done a vertical line like this. Again, this is so small, but I want to show you what's happening. Then this is represented by this on her, and they've gone across. They've made a very small right side on our left, but her right side of her lip, and then they over-represent this to show you that it's sideways. And then her lip is very fat down here because you're seeing the side of it. And then you really don't see the rest. This actually goes off to the side. And this is the side of her face. So what's happening is you see since you're looking at it at an angle, you're really seeing the side of this lip here. And this is very represented. This is very minimal, and you don't even see that side. So you actually sometimes just see the teeth, you know. That's what they show you. So with her is the same thing. I'm going to show you that. If you look here, placement is everything. It's very close, almost touching the bottom of her chin. We're going to do that. We're going to put the side right there where it goes. This is actually coming down and this levels off. So it's not this, it's this. We're going to do that. Maybe her nose could have come down a little bit more. So now we're going to go across like I had told you. And then we're going to do this. You can put a little more lips on her, but be very careful. You can overdo the lips. And that's it. That's what it is. It's this line, and then this lip comes down. That's really what it is. It's frustratingly easy. Let's fix the edge of this face a little bit, sort of around her. And her neck, inside neck, it comes out of her eye. It lines up with her eye. So. Okay. And so we'll continue from there. So let's finish up this drawing. And we know that if we go almost just past the line of her hair here, that's where this wing is going to go. The wing is coming out. This looks almost like a straight line. We're going to do a straight line. And then it curves. This is about a pencil thick. So we're going to shoot straight out to that corner right here. We just did this line, which is where that wing ends to. And it's in our envelope perimeter. So we're going to shoot a straight line there. And then we can bend it a little bit like the wing, and then we curve it and we bring it in. Actually, it looks like I went too far, but that's fine. I can fix it when I darken it now. So that's fine. There's a circle right here. It's not quite a circle, but we're gonna treat it like a circle. So we're gonna see that it lines up with the edge of her skirt here. It's just below her shoulder, and it goes into her body. But it's above her hip. So this is it. I guess that's one of her bottom wings. And then here we go. This is a complicated shape. It's out in the wind. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go off our center line to the very tip on the corner. Okay, that's almost touching there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a straight line from her shoulder to that corner. From her shoulder to that corner. Now, I'm gonna do this empty space here. See this, it's coming a little bit past. I'm gonna do that little shape right there. And then it looks like it's a 1, 2. So it turns right around her bun. So I'm gonna do this shape. I can even do this off the center line to guide me. And I know where I'm coming out of, and I can now let's see the other end. Now this goes here, it goes here, and it goes here. Let's get those ends right at the bun where it's tied. Let's get that measurement. Let's get this measurement right at her. It looks like it's at her nose height, at her nose distance. So now I'm pretty good. I'm golden here now because I'm gonna come here from the center of this circle. Actually, this thing, let's see. I'll just go off the center line here, see. No guesswork here. I've got something that's not right here. There we go, it's at her nose, but I gotta measure wrong. So there it is. There it is. So I measured off the wrong. I measured off the nose, I had to measure off the center line. That's what happened when I did that measurement. I told you what to do, but I did it incorrectly. So that's her wing more or less. Let's see, so this is about the same place her arm comes in. So, and what does the top line up with? It lines up with her hair in her corner. So, and that's how I just do references. I reference all the points and that's how I find things. A lot of you already do that at work. No matter what you do, you find a way to get to the information by checking it out. Art is the same way. So that's more or less right. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and ink this now. Let's see how it comes out. I hope you enjoyed. I'll make some corrections as I draw. I'll make some corrections because I'll realize them as I'm going and I'll just make them then. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel. Send it to anybody that has children that might enjoy this, or anybody that's an artist that isn't drawing or painting right now, because we've got to start drawing. That's our superpower. I'll talk to you all soon. And thank you, Disney, for incredible creation for all these years. We hope to go there soon.